So, hi Grace, hi Vidal, hi Gladys. So today, as promised, we are going to go with Dr. Marcia Reynolds. So, hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? Finally.
Yeah, it works. Got it all figured out.
Yes, we got it figured out. So we are very excited to have you here with us in our Insta Live today and to talk about, in these times, uplifting ourselves and others. But before we start, we need to introduce you a bit. From my Dr. Marcia Reynolds is a master certified coach, and she helps coaches and leaders make every conversation a difference-making experience. She has provided coaching and training in 41 countries, is the training director for the Healthcare Coaching Institute in the United States, and teaches for coaching schools in China, in Russia, in the Philippines. And her personal clients include leaders in multinational corporations, non-profit organizations, and government agencies. Marcia was the 5th global president of the International Coach Federation and recently inducted into ICF's Circle of Distinction for her contribution to the global coaching community. Excerpts from Marcia's books, Outsmart Your Brain, The Discomfort Zone, and Wonder Woman have appeared in business and psychological publication worldwide. And her next book, Coach the Person, Not the Problem, is a guide to using reflective inquiry, will be published this June. And she is very passionate about coaching, contributing to making the world a better place for all. And I am glad and honored to say and humbled to say that Marcia is a very dear friend of mine and my mentor. And I am so happy that you accepted to have this call with us today. And so, Marcia, we talk about emotions shaping our reality and shifting our brain focus on the positives during these very difficult and scary times is a difficult process. Since I think our brains are wired to usually unpleasant waves more than pleasant waves. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, remembering that the brain's primary function is to protect us, to keep us safe. So what happens is it goes into overload in times like this where we have no idea about the future. And even what's happening right now is very scary. So it's doing everything it can to say danger, danger, danger. That's out in the world. And so the first thing is we want to recognize that this overload of fear and discomfort is really the brain's effort to try to stabilize us in this moment, and it just doesn't have anything to hold on to. So we have to be deliberate in being able to balance these energies, and the automatic processing that's going on in the brain.
So, yeah, I love when you say the brain is talking about danger, 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 and it's in a state of overload of fear.
Right.
And what is behind this voice of ours that keeps us with this negative chatter all the time? And how do we stop it?
Well, the greatest trigger of fear is the fear of the unknown. And that's what's causing this overload right now. It's not even so much of what's happening in the moment. There's things that are happening that aren't great, but we can cope with that. But that we don't know what's going to happen in the future is the worst thing for the brain to try to handle. But when you stop and look at it, Zaina, do we ever really know what the future will look like, and how it's going to unfold? We don't. We fool ourselves into thinking we do. And so, the first thing is to stop and say, what is it that I'm predicting that's awful that's going to happen? And is there other possibilities that could happen? I mean, this has only been going on in a few months. If you think, what are all the other things that could change that are good? That's happening right now. The connections, the different ways of working together. We're discovering new things. How can we bring in some possibility thinking to kind of balance the unknown about the future?
I love what you're saying about that, and I guess we're all from different parts of the world. You are in the States, I am here in Beirut. All around the world, I think we are experiencing the same thing.
Yeah.
And what I can see is that we are all going to thrive, I think, rather than survive after all of this. Now, the question is, how are we going to do that? Is the question that many people are asking, especially in these daunting times where it's, as you said, the fear is crippling most of us. Some of us are making very good use of it, but many of us are scared also because of economic hardships that is going to couple with that is actually coupling with the corona, and then it's going to move on forward after that. The whole world is going to go into economic crisis. So I guess the question would be how do we create all of this now so we can push through, because it's a very resistant phase. We are going through a resistant phase that will increase the resilience for sure. But how are we going to push through?
Well, there's a number of things I want to stress what you said. The first thing is, isn't it amazing that you and I are across the world, but we're going through the same thing? It's like one of the rare times the entire world is facing the same dilemmas, which, that's scary, but on the other hand, that we can fully understand each other and be here for each other no matter where we are. That's incredible. That's happening.
It is.
Yes. So, to be able to count on each other, and that I have empathy and understand, because we need each other more than anything right now. But the second thing you said, when you look at what we've experienced in our lifetime, you've lived through many scary moments, and it's like, I feel very fortunate that the life my family has created for me that I haven't. But, I'm just second generation. My grandparents came here after leaving their families and to die, to find a life. They were just teenagers, and what they had to endure. And yet I can remember my little grandmother, who was shorter than me, and you know how short I am. And she was so right, and
beautifully short.
Thank you. But, she was so strong and so powerful. I mean, she so instilled the power I have in my life, because they stood together. They always found a way to move forward, and that we have to remember that as long as we keep believing and stand for each other, and I have to say that she always came to places in the United States where she could find community, and that they would help each other. So that we come together and help each other and remember that there is a way forward. We will, for the most part, most of us will get through this, and there will be hardships. And that's life, because there is no life without that. And so, yes, what you also said about adversity, they say that which, that is most difficult makes us stronger. And so if you step back and you say, what is life truly all about? Is it just being comfortable, or is it truly understanding the meaning of our existence and why we are here for each other on this journey that we call life? And how can we support each other through this time on the darkness of the journey we're dealing with right now? I think that's what gives us the strength, knowing that we can support each other and not just focus on our own dilemmas. So much going on right now. It's incredible.
So much going on. And I want to invite everyone that's joining us, and as you can see, there are many people joining us, to ask all the questions they would like to ask also, and we will try and answer those questions. This brings me really to what Jeffrey Schwartz talks about, which is the self-directed neuroplasticity that takes the lead in our brain in times of hardship, in times of adversity. And in order to shape our brain, this neuroplasticity, it's good to explain to people if they have the awareness of the big role that these experiences have on our mindset and how it affects our well-being. It is I think it is one of the easiest things for us coaches to go through this. It is difficult yet easy because we have been through our own hardships doing the training that we do and living the life as coaches, because we actually walk the talk. So we have to go through all of this. And when you were talking and saying about how this brings us all together in terms of the whole world supporting each other and facing and going through this adversity together, what I was sensing is that we have so much work to do. We have so much empowerment and giving back to the society. And I know that a number of my friend coaches are tuning in today to this conversation. And I guess what I'm hinting as is that how can we do that? How can we change this mindset of ours? How can we use this adversity and experience to change or to have more neuroplasticity in our brain?
Yeah. Well, there is a paradox going on, that on the one hand, we as coaches want people to envision a possible future and move toward it. But on the other hand, we as coaches provide people a safe space to show up exactly who they are and where they are right now, without trying to push them forward and make something happen. And so we're kind of dancing between that. But even in these times of where someone may just need a sounding board, just to say, I don't know where I'm going, but I don't know that I can know. That when you talk about neuroplasticity, it's not just that we can shift the way our perspective and the way we see things, but we can truly shift the way we cope. And so, sometimes by coaching people just to talk about, where they're living right now. This is the story that I'm living in. This is my fears. This is what I'm so uncomfortable about and afraid for my family. That sometimes just allowing people that space just to put that on the table, because they can't tell other people, their family and the people counting on them, they can't tell them. And so if they come to a coach and the coach just says, okay, fine, just tell me what's going on right now, that by putting that story on the table may be just enough for right now to say, there it is. I know I will get through this, but I needed just to put it out there. And that shift of relief, even, of acceptance, of understanding, that what I'm going through right now is hard, and I'm okay. Even though it's hard and I don't
It's okay.
It's all okay. And that I can learn to accept myself for being afraid is a great place, that we as coaches can allow people to be. They have to be there first before they can imagine going forward.
Yeah, I think I lost you for a minute.
Yes.
So we're talking about having this ability to create this self-awareness of where we are.
Yeah.
And as coaches, we can provide this sounding board for our clients, for whoever wants to be at this moment now.
Right.
And in creating and in this piece of self-awareness, in doing so, this shift of state of mind will already be at a different level. Yeah. And I guess as many of the ICF chapters and as a leader of the chapter in Lebanon myself, what we are trying to do is get out and to be these sounding boards for many people out there, right, volunteering, doing the pro bono work, and even just telling people, hey, we're there, and doing these kinds of awarenesses. I guess I want to also discuss a piece of Viktor Frankl's when he talked about, yes, I love that piece. And the freedom to choose. We have the freedom to choose where we want to be at this level. So, and I would like to reflect a bit with you on that, being proactive versus reactive to the triggers we are going through.
Right. Well, that's an interesting point with Frankl, because, I want to come back to this whole concept of vision. For those of who are on this call that are ICF coaches, it's like, well, we have to get an agreement of a picture of the future before we can coach people. Well, right now we may not be able to do that, but if the vision may not be a clear picture, but a clear sense. And so what Frankl had was, he didn't know exactly what his life would look like in the future, but he had a sense that when I am out of this concentration camp, I will be able to instill hope and a sense of contribution in people in the future in some way. And so knowing that if I stay on top of this and I am a light for others, and that, in the future it's going to look different, but that I will have the opportunity to shine that light even brighter, to help people find a way forward and to create a vision they can live into. Yeah. That can I not hold on to that as why I'm going to get through this okay, because of how I feel and the feelings that I give people, even if I can't give them a clear picture of what the future will look like.
Yes. Yes, and the choice. What other choice do we have in thinking about that? Really?
Isn't that?
Do we have any other?
Yeah. but that comes back that. Whoops, that comes back to that whole sense of that I have no choice and I have no control. And is that true? What is it that you can truly control in this moment? And if anything, it's yourself. And that's what we have to keep reminding people. And as a coach, to ask, what is in your control right now? You haven't lost everything. You can lose every thing in your life, but no one can take away how I can hope and think about what I can do for others in the future. Nobody can take that away from me. And that's what we can do for people, is remind them that.
Vera is asking us that, or I don't know if she is saying that she is becoming very sensitive and she can't hear anymore any negative news. Her brain is refusing. And I guess I will leave the floor for you, Marcia, and then I will give my input to tell her what she needs to do with this. I always say that shy away from the news as much as possible.
Yeah.
And
well, it's because I think the first thing is to remember is that the job of the news is to focus on the most negative, because that's what gets the most attention. So, what's really great is how many channels right now are coming out with good news. There's websites with good news and celebrities putting out good news and trying to balance the good with the bad. I have to look at the news because, I have clients all over the world. I need to know what's going on. But I have to remember that they have a greater negativity bias than I do. And that it's not the full truth. It's not the full truth. It's just a piece of the truth, just a little piece. That there's more of the truth that's out there. So I think people are saturated, with hearing every day the daily number of people who are sick and dying, whatever. Yes, it's true and it's sad. And the daily number of people that are helping each other and reaching out and rising above and getting over the illness and recovering. The good news is out there too, and so that's the thing. And again, to remember, the media job is to focus on the worst.
And as you said, Marcia, I guess there is so much good news also. And people are talking about the good news, or not. They're not seeing how many of those patients have recovered. They're only focused on the amount of patients that have either died or are still sick. So there is a lot of good news. And as you said, a lot of good has been created out of all of that. And on a daily level, if we focus on the news, we have to look at the news, but not 24/7. People are flustered.
Oh my God! It reminds me. I was with a girlfriend some years ago on the Gulf of Mexico, and there was a hurricane coming in. And all we did was stare at the Weather Channel, You know, it was like we were like glued to the Weather Channel watching this horrible thing. And then finally she said, "This is ridiculous. Let's board the place up and drive somewhere else."
Yes.
And it was as simple as that, you know, that we could do that. We could go find another place to be. You know, go outside. I've been walking every day, and I'm fortunate to live in a place to where the weather is gorgeous right now, and the mountains are beautiful. And if you notice my posts, you know, I post beautiful hikes, and you know, we have to like get up and move yourself. Don't sit there and stare at the computer and read the bad news. Don't do that. That's crazy.
Yes, yes. We have been talking about all of that, about not sticking to the news, getting active, meditating, praying, and doing all of that. And what caught my eye really on your website is also the laughter. You were talking about trying to focus on laughter. So tell us more about that.
Well, you know from emotional intelligence that the one emotion that can totally change your chemistry faster than anything else is laughter. That the spurts of serotonin and the endorphins that change our chemistry come to us quicker when we laugh. That when somebody that you're mad at makes you laugh, it's like you can't be mad at them anymore. You may be mad that you can't be mad, but it changes our brain. And there was that video that I had shared, the fun in quarantine that they made in China, where they were playing games and putting on costumes and all kinds of things, to laugh. And I'm hearing about people that are doing crossword puzzles on Zoom with their families and playing games. And there's so many ways that we can come together and make each other smile, which changes the brain. And it will change your perspective. If you have a good laugh, your perspective totally changes. And so we have to remember that there's things that are funny, right now, that are going on as well, and help each other get through this through laughter.
Yes. What we have done and in our chapter and with the population at large is we have created something for our chapter called morning coffee. It's called Subhiye in Lebanon. And we just get together as coaches every week or so, and we just laugh our heads off. Today we had one today in the morning, and we share experiences. So, and last time I was discussing this terminology of social distancing versus physical distancing. I really prefer the physical distancing part because we can still connect as human beings, even if we are across the screen, and we can have a good laugh, we can have a good cup of coffee, we can just connect, and just by this connection, as you said, those happy hormones, or even the loving hormone, the oxytocin, is going to spread all over us and actually create a better sense of well-being. So actually telling people that yes, exercise more, laugh more, connect more with each other, and try to make use of this time. I'm not going to take a lot of your time and your wisdom, but I want you to see if you have any last comment for the people that are with us today.
We need to stay in the present moment. The thing that's making us most crazy is the speculation about the future, and we always look at the worst case scenario. But the goodness is in the moment that is happening right now. So, what is good that is occurring right now between us and in our environment, and stay really present, so we can create the possibilities that are going to take us into a better future.
So be more present.
Yes.
Be more present, guys.
Yes.
Did you listen? Be more present with yourselves. And thank you all for joining us. I thank you so much, Marcia, for this intervention. And thank you for all the work that you do. And I'll see you all next week with another doctor and another version. Next week, it's going to be more about infectious diseases and what's happening more in the corona world. Stay tuned with us and see you. And thank you, Marcia. I'll reach out to you also. Thanks a lot. Take care and stay safe, stay home.
Okay.
Bye.